Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Euro 2024. My name's Clayton.
My name is James, and yeah, I think I sound hoarse, but I'm not sure. What
You
about
sound
you, mate?
fine. You sound fine. I'm fighting a chest infection, so if I sound hoarse, it's illness, not alcohol. Must get that
Okay,
in there.
mine's alcohol. I think I'm going to quit after this tournament. It's not good for me anymore. Waking up in the middle of the night and not knowing what the final score of Spain was and stuff like that.
Bloody hell, really
I'll talk about that on the
good
Patreon
effort.
podcast a little bit later. So I can't give huge insight onto Spain, but I think from what I did see, they're largely very good.
Yeah, they're all right. What a
How's Euro
start to the
Fantasy
knockouts.
going for you, pal?
Yeah, good-ish. Well, I've got 63 points so far, so obviously everyone changed their whole team, and largely it's gone well. So Nico will do his fancy things where he puts a graphic on the screen, right? So I don't need to go through the whole team, but so far,
This is a podcast,
for
Clayton.
audio listeners, the returnees so far, should I just go through the whole team, my whole selection?
Yeah, go on.
Might as well. So I've gone Pickford and Costa as the keepers, so I'll be twisting Pickford to Costa tonight. Defense, I've got Rudiger, Stones, Carvajal, Mark Gahey, who's obviously suspended now, and Pepe. Midfield, I went for Bellingham, Pedri, Nico Williams, Musiala, Gundogan, and up top, I went for Morata, Mbappe, and I had Havertz until I saw all of the build predicted lineups that had Fulkrug in, so I took him out, and I had Havertz captain, who I then switched to Gundogan, who I then switched to Pedri. So far this tournament, my only captaincy return has been a Cristiano Ronaldo assist. How are you doing, James?
I know Suj also had Havertz in and took him out as well. No one likes that penalty run up, do they?
No, not a
No,
fan.
no.
No.
This is like
It feels
it's like
harsh on the keepers.
yeah, it's like 5% of him that doesn't quite stop. So I think it is still legal, but
Yeah.
I'd like to get that kind of outlawed. That really,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't feel right on goalkeepers, and it's hard enough for them with the staying on their line stuff as well. I'm on 53 at the moment. I might have two captaincy chances left, Kates, whereas you've obviously
I've
got
only got one.
no Netherlands, no Austria. So you're very much in Camp Mbappe tonight.
Yes,
I
sir.
also will be Camp Mbappe tonight because I think there might well be some. I think that game's going to be quite negative, as I've said previously, but I think there could be some real joy for him, particularly if France were to be leading for long periods of the game. I also went Pickford and Costa, so I'll be turning that around. I was going to go for Bruggham.
Yeah. When did you change your mind on that?
It was the more I thought about it and reflected on comments I'd made on the Patreon podcast as well, and was like, well, if I don't end up wildcarding, they're playing the same day in the quarterfinal. I thought,
Yeah.
nah, let's get off that. So I went treble England defence of Pickford. John Stones 4 points, Mark Gay 7, magnificent assist for Jude Bellingham's tap in. Carvajal and Cucurella 7 points between the two of them after an England-esque defensive moment from Lenormand. I went double Germany attack of Gundogan and Musiala. Everybody listening to this knows which one of the two that I captained. I went Morata and Nico Williams. Everyone knows which one of the two that I captained there. And I went with Jude as well. I've got Bruno Fernandes to go, Mbappe, Teo Hernandez, and Cody Gakpo
Nice. And where does
was the
that
last
take
forward I
you
went with.
overall at the minute?
53 points, 21k. I think I want to say I went into this week on 16k, I
Okay.
think. So if Mbappe or Gakpo return, it will probably end in a green and a Portugal clean sheet as I'll have double would be quite handy tonight
Sure.
as well. But yeah, not a thriller. I noticed the average, I just said to you before we started, the average score is 35. But if you consider that I've gone down in rank, that's not a reflection of, I think, the
The
engagement at
active teams.
the
Yeah.
top end of it. Yeah. So I've seen some teams knocking about comfortably in 70s and more at the moment. So
Wow.
yeah, there's some really good scores knocking about there, although not too many with obviously England and Spain conceding, not too many from a clean sheet perspective. I know there was a few, obviously had good Germany returnees on
Yeah.
Saturday. There was a few would have gone Mittelstadt, who obviously didn't even see the pitch. And Nico was telling me this morning he had Rudiger captain
Oh,
and he
no way.
pulled Matt, yeah, and he changed it to someone else. So, I mean, a captaincy in this. So anyone who's played UCL fantasy, you can't believe what's going on in
Yeah.
captaincy. in a lot of this at the moment.
Strategy wise, are you still looking to wildcard quarters? Does anything need to happen in tomorrow's games to
Well,
change your mind?
I don't know. I'm kind of more leaning towards, I mean, it's subject to perhaps, but I've got a couple of France. Gay is the only one I've got coming out of a problem, but I've obviously got a lot of Germany, Spain. There's two Germany, four Spain, but the fact they obviously play on day one,
Yeah,
you can take what you get of it and then sub out obviously what doesn't do well. I'll have a cut of France, cut of Portugal. So I'm going to be quite heavy on day one if I don't do
I'll be the
anything,
same. Yeah, I think my splits are similar to you.
which I don't mind. I mean, definitely with 95 minutes of England Slovakia gone, I was wild carding this week. So yeah, no decision made. I might just hold off for the semi-finals, particularly like if Portugal win tonight. It's still going to be tough picking the best of Germany v Spain or Portugal v France. I might just
Yeah,
let it go and then deal with for the semi-finals, quite possibly. It's like a Switzerland-Austria semi-final, which is very conceivable. I've got no coverage of that at the moment, and I don't really see me going that hard on those two teams, even though I think
yeah,
there's every chance, particularly Switzerland will beat England at the weekend. I don't say, well, what am I going to do if I wildcard? Am I going to steam into Switzerland? I'm probably not,
no,
actually. So it's looking more and more. I might just wait for the semis, which I think it's not optimal, but if I'm carrying through 15 players that are going to go through anyway, I'm not sure how much would change. That's what I need to do.
yeah.
After the next 2 days, sit down. How much would I actually change? And if it's not enough to justify it, then I'll just I'll just carry through,
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
exactly what I'm gonna do because I'm the same. I'm looking at it right now, and same as you, I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of players anyway. So just gonna do a draft, exactly what you said, see how many I'd change, and then make a decision accordingly. Should we go through the games?
Yeah, let's do that, Chief.
Switzerland 2 and the holders Italy nil. They are knocked out. What a performance from Switzerland. Thoroughly impressed.
They were outstanding. Italy were, it should be said, horrendous. I don't know about you, but watching the game, I was thinking, I hope Italy make a comeback here, or I hope
Me
Italy
too.
get because I'd rather England played Italy than
Completely agree.
Switzerland. The only reason for not saying that would be on a reputation of all the name.
Yeah.
But you'd have been well happy for England to play Italy. I think that's as poor as I can recall seeing them. It's only four of the team that won the Euros basically
Yeah.
remains from 3 years on. They're miles away. They've got a good manager in Spalletti,
Yep.
who obviously won Serie A with Napoli, and they've announced that he's going to stay on, which I think people look on the outside and go, well, that failure for Italy. But I think that probably speaks volumes of how far behind they are
Yeah. Massively.
at the moment. Weren't helped by Barella got a knock quite early in the game. He's the one attacking player they've got that I really like. Chiesa, mainly through injuries, has just not progressed. As I said the other day from a few years ago, they weren't helped by a few injuries at the back with DeMarco and injured and Calafiori missed out as well. But their lack of engagement in this was really, really poor.
Yeah.
And the final score was a fair reflection on the game. Switzerland are good.
Very good. The most impressive thing for me was just structurally their distances were spot on. Everyone on the ball had two, three options around them. And it's the basics like pass move, but maintaining distances and structure throughout. And like obviously as a Arsenal fan, I've got a big soft spot for Granit Xhaka and kind of thoroughly enjoyed watching him throughout the years. We did a patron Q&A last week and we spoke a little bit about him and I always said he was just kind of used within the wrong structures in previous Arsenal teams. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really tough game for England against Switzerland. Really, really impressive performance by the Swiss.
He was magnificent.
Mate, he's so good.
He was absolutely brilliant, Granit Xhaka. I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, I wish he played for our team at the moment.
Yep,
That
me too.
distribution to how the punch passes, we just haven't got it with England.
No,
I agree with your point. I think it's a great point about on the spacing and the distancing. They're quite cute tactically. I'm going to do a piece later in the week on them ahead of the quarterfinal on
nice.
Patreon, where Rodriguez, the left-sided centre back, doesn't really play like a left-sided centre back, goes into a left back area. And Michael Arbisher, who scored twice in the opening game against Hungary, goes into like 10 positions in the central midfield area. We can go and create. And Vargas, the left sided forward of the front three, pulls into a real wide area and they create this almost like a diamond.
Yeah.
on the left hand side, which at the base of that is Xhaka. They have a real lean towards the left hand side. Interestingly, the manager Murat Yakin said after the game, he said, "Actually, no, I want us to play more to the right hand side, but there is obviously
Okay.
a strength out there that is creating a little bit of imbalance." So he's part design, but he wants to progress what they're doing on the right hand side as well. They look like an extremely well coached football team
Yeah.
with some very good players. Um, I wouldn't say there's standout absolute stars in there, but there's players we familiar with. Jan Sommer's a good goalkeeper, very experienced. We know about Fabian Schär and Manuel Kanji. I think has developed into a really outstanding centre back. So they're strong at the back. They are
Cher had a
quite
little bit of a scare, didn't he? When he
Oh, some head. I mean, that was Italy's best moment of the game, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was one of them when he Clayton's obviously referring to the header that went backwards and obviously hit the post. It was one of them. It felt like it was in the air for a day.
Yeah. Everyone
Where's it
just
going?
stopped and was just
Yeah,
looking at it, wasn't
where's it going to drop? I don't. Honestly, they were so comfortable. I don't think it would have made an ounce of difference. The XG is even quite skewed as well, where Italy have ended up with 0.70 from the game. That's according to SofaScore with one big chance. That's Shamaka's effort to hit the post. He's offside.
Oh,
That
okay.
that that shouldn't even count
No.
on the data. They're aggressive with the wing backs. Obviously, Arbisha goes inside, but they played in this game with Dan and Doy on the right hand side,
It's
and
very good.
he at times played like a right sided forward. They really push on, and then when they lose it, they funnel into a 5-4-1 and make your life quite difficult. Really good team,
Yeah.
really good team. Anybody who's watched Switzerland and England at this tournament should be sitting here under the conclusion right now, thinking Switzerland will win,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that will be the case. But if anybody, easier side of the draw, and then it is the easier side of the draw. But if anybody's going into the weekend thinking, oh, it's Switzerland, I mean, surely we're beyond that now. Like they're a good team. They
Very
could
good
well
team.
get to the final here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
really
Moving
good
on.
football team.
Germany 2, Denmark nil, and a game that was disrupted by the weather.
Yes, it
That
was.
lightning was scary, to be fair.
Oh, why is he taking them off the pitch? It's woke. No,
I saw that the amount I saw that word on my
I
timeline.
know.
I can't lie, it did make me laugh.
No, get off the pitch. The highlight was obviously the two Danish lads in the corner where the water was pouring down and they were just having it with their tops off and stuff. Yeah, good crack. They got drenched on the pitch and drenched off it as well. Obviously, Denmark were unlucky here. I think the game had the right winner. It's
Yeah.
worth saying, but that
Should we get
mad couple of moments
should we
in
get it out
the
of the way straight off?
yeah.
I feel like it would be weird not to talk about it. I know you don't like talking about VAR, but go on, what's your 2 cents on it?
I mean, look, it's offside. It's offside, isn't it? Unfortunately, but it just feels so shit and horrible.
Yeah.
Whether you wanted Germany to win, didn't want them to win, you look at that moment, you go, "This is not what it was for," and it's never going to change. We're never going to get away from this. I think it was Nico was actually it was Callan last Monday. I was
Okay.
discussing it with about we've gone forensic with it now, and you're never going to get back away from it because
No.
you say, "Oh, right, put thicker lines in." Yeah, but then it's thicker lines, and then someone's offside by a bit more of a toe.
There'll
Like,
always be a
does
little
that
bit more,
help?
yeah.
And then actually, technically, it is onside. Even with the semi-automated, I don't know how we can be like 100% sure. I mean, what if he's just wearing a bigger boat and maybe his toes are actually onside, and he just there's just like
But
no
the fact
one
that we're
likes
even
it, do
having a
they?
conversation around that is crazy. And then on the handball, what's your verdict on that?
That the problem is, and that it's worth saying, and again, it was English officials, wasn't it? Stuart Atwell and VAR, Michael Oliver, the referee, and it does seem to happen to them. In terms of the rules and interpretation of the game and them being applied, it's correct.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Right.
But
Firstly, for me, get this effing snickometer in the bin. Right. Get rid of what is that? This isn't cricket. Get what is that?
speaking of cricket, big up to India winning the
What
T20
I
World
don't
Cup.
get with the snickometer is like Oliver goes to the side and they show him the snickometer. Well, you can see it's hit Anderson's finger anyway. Like, what do you need this for? I think we need to rewrite the rules
That's
of
the thing for
handball.
me.
That's
Yeah,
what we need to do here. We
yeah,
need to rewrite the rules and we need to say, does does Joachim Andersen gain an advantage from what happened, or can we use a little bit of common sense? There's not a single Germany player that appeals for a
In
penalty.
normal time, I didn't think anything.
No. Does he gain an advantage from what happened?
No,
Did it actually ultimately change massively the trajectory of the ball, or deny a German player who was free in the box from getting a clean header on it, or anything like that? Did he gain any advantage? Can we use some sort of common sense? No one really wants this football match defined by that moment. They don't feel right.
no.
I say it all the time that about like, England and results business, and 2 years worth of work, bang, down, he's gone. And they were in the game at
They were,
that
yeah,
point, clearly, a couple of minutes earlier. And the same player, Anderson, is obviously, he thinks he's put them 1-0 up. And 2 minutes later, he's standing there laughing because a penalty's been given against him. And he knows it's hit like
yeah.
two of his fingers or something. Has he gained any advantage of that? No. Is it the correct decision by
By
law?
the law,
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Yes. No, no
And that's where
complaints.
the lady, is her name Christina, the VAR lady. I think she's really good at
Yeah, she
explaining
is.
the.
Yeah.
But
She
I actually,
shuts she shuts the lads up in the studio as well because they go,
I
you
was
do
just gonna,
explain it really well, but we don't like it.
I was just gonna say, I actually felt sorry for her because I felt like they were piling in on her for like when she's just explaining the laws. It's not her fault and everything, but it did feel like a bit of a gang up on her. But I think she was brilliant at explaining the law, and that's where I didn't even know they got rid of that kind of intent with handball rule. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of on the same lines of I think they,
And she said like distancing doesn't even matter anymore.
yeah,
I mean, technically, at the point of the cross, does Anderson's arm move away from his body, and does it also go up? If you're forensically looking at this, you'll go, yeah.
yeah, but
But it's
Rashford's
also
running.
natural that as he's half turned his body to try and block, that his arm is going to come away from his body.
Yeah, yeah. The
It's
penalty was
uncomfortable.
given, and
It's
Havertz
uncomfortable.
Havertz tucked it away.
This isn't what we want games of football decided by. And
No,
I do think Germany would have gone on and won anyway. As said to you as well, the penalty is uncomfortable as well because
yeah,
you feel like he stops. So, he's waiting for the goalkeeper to move. Goalkeeper don't move. And where he puts it, by the way, he's completely unsavable. But that also feels uncomfortable because we know if Schmeichel, as Havertz stops, if Schmeichel takes a step off, as seen with Mike Mannion and the Robert Lewandowski penalty, he's going to get retaken.
yeah.
So, and listen, we've seen penalties saved at this tournament. That particular style of run up, though, feels quite uncomfortable. What I like about Germany is their ability to adapt. I think they used, as seen with the second goal, a direct ball, and it
Yeah,
wasn't the only time they'd used it in the game. Schmeichel should absolutely come. And he hesitates. You can even see when you watch it back, Musiala hesitates because he thinks, well, Schmeichel will get there first. And where he ends up getting on the end of the ball is basically on the edge of the box. And that's with Musiala hesitating. So Schmeichel should have. I get it. You've got a split second to make a decision. He's regressed as a goalkeeper. They had massive problems in the first half, Denmark, with defending corners.
yeah,
And as seen with the Schlotterbeck disallowed goal, which is correct. I think there's a clear block in there. And watching it, I'm thinking about the Talking Tactics video I did on Leicester about 3 years ago and their problems defending corners. And I think Schmeichel was a big reason for this.
yeah.
Still a good goalkeeper, but I think it's probably best moments have moved on now.
One thing I've,
Musiala takes the goal brilliantly, but their
yeah, great
variation to be
finish.
able to drag you in and then, oh, actually, no, we can ping one over the top into the channels is probably unlike a lot of the other top teams at this tournament.
Yeah, I found what they did tactically when they made the sub. So they took off Andrik and Gundogan, right, and brought on Chan and Fulkrug. And this is why I'll never ever make it in any capacity as a coach because I remember looking at it and it's like Chan was, I don't know if I got the wrong understanding of what they were trying to do, but Chan was kind of moving between like a three at the back and then kind of joining Kroos in midfield at moments. And I remember looking, and Havertz was kind of dropping in, and it looked like they were really trying to just cut off passing lanes into the center, and Kroos was just kind of on his own. And I remember thinking, like, what the hell has he done that for? Like, if Denmark get in there, they're in. And then Germany went and made it too, and I shut up talking to my friends. But what
That
they were doing
first
was quite cute, I
that
thought.
was it in between the two goals as well? The Havertz miss where he dinked it over Schmeichel and
Forgot
wide.
about that. Yeah,
Oh my god, that
what a
first touch was
touch.
obscene,
Yeah,
wasn't
I
it?
feel like that was the most Kai Havertz sequence ever.
Yeah.
But then I think there was it Sane that was running beside him? Because
He
I
was
feel like
fouled, wasn't he?
there was a square on there. Yeah,
But that's one that they'll judge now and say, well, he's not had a direct impact. Like the one where Ronaldo got pulled in the Georgia game.
Yeah,
They were explaining like he doesn't have a direct impact on what's happening. That's why it's not been given. And that's how this sort of play. If Havertz had squared it towards Sane, it would have been a penalty. It's interesting
yeah,
that
yeah.
because he definitely gets fouled.
From a team selection perspective, obviously Mittelstadt didn't play. There'll be a lot of people that own him. Do you know what the word is there? Has anything come out?
No, I mean there was a lot of talk about Raum playing instead of him, and then actually later in the game they used Benjamin Heinrichs in that position as well, rather than Mittelstadt. And I did wonder, I mean, Mittelstadt's delivery in terms of a chance creativity is quite good. If you look at the underlying and stuff, I think we've all seen that in the games and even in the friendlies before the tournament as well. It was Raum's cross for Fulkrug for the equaliser against Switzerland. And I did wonder if there was some theory there in terms of the type of cross that you're putting into the box. But then Fulkrug didn't start. And
Yeah,
that was all the words in the build up to the game was that he was going to start. So no, I'm not sure. I would have thought Schlotterbeck played well.
yeah,
But I think, and him being a natural left footer actually gives them a little better balance. There might be that's also possible to it in terms of Mittelstadt as well. I do think Jonathan Tah will probably come back into the team.
sure.
With Verts, he's obviously an outstanding, talented player. But to contradict what I said about their variation in terms of going quite direct, one of the things that Germany struggle with, perhaps versus, say, Portugal with Leao, Spain with Williams and Lamine Yamal, France with Dembele's, etc., and Mbappe wanting to drift out wide. Germany don't have that real kind of aggressive ball carrier unless
It's
Sane
Sane,
plays.
Musiala can do it. Yeah,
So it obviously ends up with their setup. It will end up in central areas quite a lot, but that might stick as an out and out better ball carrier, maybe. And I think
sure.
there's no way Musiala would come out of this team. And I think the positions Gundogan picks up as well is unlikely to withdraw from the team. So people got Verts is probably one that you're going to really want to assess ahead of the Spain game. I think
Yeah,
as well against Spain, you're going to have less of the ball. To have a ball carrier like Sane seems suitable to me.
yeah. That's what a quarter final. That's a game that should be the final, isn't it? Germany, Spain. Early prediction for that one?
Listen, here's what I can say. If England make it to the final, definitely one of these games on the stronger side of the draw will feel more like a final than when England get there, I
Yeah,
should imagine.
yeah,
So, I mean, France, Portugal is capable. The two winners is going to, I mean, from the two winners, whoever wins the semi, this is assuming Portugal and France win today, but that semi-final, whoever wins that semi-final is going to be massive favourites for the final, irrespective of who comes from England's side of the draw.
yeah. On to the Sunday games. A nice, relaxing England win against Slovakia. England 2, Slovakia 1. Last minute. Jude Bellingham. I saw your tweet. Shut a few of us up.
Yeah, me especially.
And me.
Because I'd have been taking him off the pitch. I'm not embarrassed to say that whatsoever. Um, Fucking hell, where do we
Where do you
start?
start with this
Ah,
one?
it's just a mess. Firstly, one thing I did mean to say, Clive Tilsley, because I know there's a big conversation with the community. Obviously, did his last game for ITV in Germany Denmark game. Shout out to him because we'd all like him to do the England games rather than Sam Matterface. However, I was somewhat put off. I know that I wasn't the only person who thought this. Every time Skov Olsen got the ball for Denmark in the game on Saturday night, he kept saying skulls.
Oh, did he? I didn't
Yeah, and I
pick
kept
up
thinking
on
we could really do with Paul Scholes
that.
tomorrow. And that's all I could think about. Here's where we should start with England. We should start with Slovakia.
Yeah,
Um, they deserve to win, as far as I'm concerned. Um, the underlines say that. What I saw in my eyes in terms of particularly, I mean, the first half, outstanding. Everything that I thought they would be in terms of their aggressive press was there. I did have a concern for, not a concern for them, but I did think that they might not be able to pull it off against England and might just fall into something that was a little bit more submissive off the ball. They didn't. They were aggressive. Even when they went 1-0 up, they stayed with this. They go into a 4-1-4-1. And the four midfielders in front of Lobotka are really aggressive. And England found it so difficult to play through. However, the amount of times that Foden and Bellingham were spare in half spaces, either side of Lobotka, and England couldn't find them. I could have a long tactical piece with you there, Clates, on
yeah,
that. And that's
of course.
because of England's massive problems. in terms of build up. But Slovakia should be extremely proud of what they've done. These nations are getting much stronger. We
Yeah.
can all look at it and go, Slovakia. This is a very, very well coached football team who were aggressive. They weren't just, Slovenia defaulted into a real, okay, what have you got? Break us down. Slovakia were trying to beat England. And of course, the longer it
And
goes
they
on,
had some openings.
you go in a high intense press. Of course, are you going to sustain that for 90 to 120 minutes? No, really difficult. And yes, they defaulted the longer the game went on. But even still, that mid block press of the midfield four was still not letting England play through lines, even though I think the space was there. And I think several England players, whether it was the centre backs, the two central midfield players, whether it was they were brilliant at passing, at shutting off the passing lines into Bellingham and Foden, or whether we just aren't brave enough. And I think that's a lot of it. We aren't brave enough to play the pass because no one wants to make the mistake. That said, to flip it, from the moment that they scored Slovakia till the second half of extra time, I'm pretty sure the only effort they had on goal was the effort from, was it Strelec had the effort from like the halfway line?
Yeah, my heart was in my mouth because I was from the camera angle. I was like, oh shit, I think that's in.
Well, when we saw it live, we just saw the ball heading towards goal and Jordan Pickford running backwards.
Yeah,
You could imagine like how what has happened there. Because they were showing a replay of Kyle Walker being fouled. Stop showing replays. When the ball is in play, we'd like to see what actually happens. That said, it could definitely have been one of those moments where you went for your drink and you looked up and
it's like, oh, it's
Pickford's
2
running
0.
back to his goal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, good credit to them, Slovakia. I think a lot will look at the Botka, even Schranz, who scored the goals, really, really threatening player, actually. They're right sided forward. Let's not talk about Cole Walker's positioning on that goal too much, which is obscenely bad. I don't
Yeah,
understand why, when we were chasing the game yesterday, that Trent Alexander Arnold didn't come on at right back. I'm definitely not the only person who thought that. It felt like a perfect scenario game for Trent to just go and play exactly how he plays for Liverpool.
yeah,
And I think that comes down to Southgate's fear of playing without Walker. Well, what if this does go to extra time? And what if we go in front and then I'm going with a back five? And do I want Trent sitting there at right-sided centre back? Yeah, I get these things. I get it. So bring another centre back on at that stage. If you're going to defend the penalty area, bring Lewis Dunk on. It's perfectly suitable at that point, and put Trent as the right back. Yeah, we were not good.
no,
We are on a massive high because of the specific dynamics of what happened in the game and the way it played out with Bellingham's goal.
yeah. Seconds away from going home. Yeah. Did you think it was coming? The
No,
goal? No, neither did I.
no. The only thing I would say about that is that I did think like when we'd equalise, I thought we'll win.
Yeah, so did
I
I.
didn't then think we're going to have half hour here and it'll go to penalties and shit. I'm thinking the way this game has changed now, we will win. I didn't think it would be 60 seconds into extra time we'd score again.
No.
But it did feel like that. Even with 20 minutes to go, I thought, well, if we equalise now, we'll win this game in the last 20 minutes of normal time. It felt like a build of momentum and something psychological. It just happens in games sometimes where you watch
Yeah.
games like that and someone gets the first and then the second comes quite quickly afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's because you get the positive effect for the team that have scored and the negative for the one that have conceded, right? So it's like morale completely swings. So
You've got a momentum shift and then a morale and a psychological
yeah,
shift as well, where one team's got the dynamic of trying to score and then they're now still trying to score, and the other team then hits that imbalance of now we've conceded. What do we do? We try and win the game again? Do we stay as we were? Um, Look, ultimately, England scored 2 goals from a long throw and a set piece free kick
football heritage.
with two flick-ons, both brilliant by Mark Gay
Yeah.
and Ivan Toney respectively. But am I right in saying that's the only 2 shots on target we had? The bruv,
Bellingham's I know for definitive in 90 minutes, Bellingham's overhead kick was the only shot on target. I'm not sure about the whole extra time and stuff, but yeah. We were
If anyone's
second.
feeling positive this morning, they're feeling positive because they saw one of the great England moments there with
Yeah,
Bellingham's overhead kick. And obviously, in that moment, irrespective of whatever's happened in the 95 minutes before it, you are going to lose your shit. I don't understand how you can't in that
yeah,
moment. It wasn't even, despite the fact we'd had a goal disallowed for VAR, it wasn't them in those moments you go, this will get disallowed. There was nothing in that moment that was going to stop the limbs. It never went through my head. Oh, has someone touched that with a hand or anything? No, just
no,
limbs
yeah.
everywhere, mate.
Whereas it's interesting, the Foden goal, I didn't celebrate because
I did.
did you? So
Yeah, I cocked up. Yeah.
I was convinced he was offside, and I didn't really kind of get out of my seat for that one. But even the passage of play for that, I thought was really nice. The way we kind of built up on the right, Kane switched it. It was lots of space.
Yeah. So that, as soon as that happened, when I think it was Walker, in fairness, I want to say played the ball into Kane. As
Can't
soon
remember.
as you've got it into Kane and he's turned and you know he's going to find the pass out wide, thinking we're going to score here.
Yeah,
Um, and that's playing through lines faster with a higher tempo through the pitch, not just smashing it long for the big man, actually playing a braver pass. And then you're in. You've broken that press in front of the back line, and now you're at it and you can hurt it. Whereas so often England are then obviously once you've got Slovakia into their third defensively, sure, at that point they're going to go and retreat. On the halfway line, they're trying to stop the passing lines. Then they funnel in and go deeper and protect their box. And it's too slow. Everything England does is just way too slow.
yeah.
We scored with our only 2 shots on target. This is a reality. And we know there's other moments. Declan Rice hit the post. Kane from the rebound manages to get a connection on it and it hits the ground and
The
goes
header,
over.
I don't know how that wasn't on
The
target.
header normally, he actually gets himself slightly ahead of the ball. So he can't make a choice in terms of which corner I'm going to aim for because he's got ahead of it. He can only go that near post.
Yeah,
So he just times it slightly wrong. And you think, oh, it's fated for him today not to go his way. But it's nice to see Harry Kane having chances
yeah,
in the game at least, because I think if he's not dropping short and receiving, and there wasn't a lot of that from him yesterday because there wasn't the necessity to do it really, then if he's not having chances, you feel like he's not in the game.
yeah.
So at least he had the chance, and obviously importantly for him, he's taken the big moment, which when it's dropping to him, you know he's going to score.
You spoke
Um,
about not understanding why Trent didn't come on. What did you make of the general substitutions, game management? How did it go from your perspective?
um, I think we all wanted Cole Palmer on the pitch. I particularly wanted Eze on the pitch as well because I felt it needed someone that was going to be brave enough to try and take a man on. Ultimately, it didn't matter. He ends up spending the first half of extra time playing left wing back,
Yeah,
which is interesting. But then you could
and
tell
they
that was
almost got an
quite
opening,
brave.
didn't they? He did well to track back.
He really did actually.
Yeah.
I think he just gets an ever so slight nick on it actually.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's possibly a goal. So yeah, I didn't have too much of a problem with what was made. I probably just would have made more. Trent was so obvious to get on the pitch under the circumstance of that game. You're
Yeah.
losing 1-0 and you're struggling to break down an opposition, and we can't pass through lines. We're not putting good crosses into the box. England are missing that at the moment.
Yeah.
A real good crosser. I think as well, if you're chasing and you've got Trent, if he can go up the touchline, it's going to help, whether it's Palmer in front of him, Saka, Bowen, whatever that is in front of him, having Trent there. Even you take your man on and you draw people towards you. When you pass back to Cole Walker, what's happening? Right, Cole
Yeah.
Walker's
It's just
okay, right, I'm
yeah.
going to go back inside to Mainu or Gallagher's on at this point or whomever. You pass back to Trent, people I don't want Trent across the ball. So it felt so obvious to me that Trent needed to get on the pitch. I don't understand why he wasn't used. Well, I do because he just doesn't want to lose Cole Walker from defensive situations. Not that Cole Walker played well. Um, Saka at left back felt like we've really, really fucked this now and we don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
There's a few people will want that to stick now. I don't necessarily think that's right. We
No,
don't
neither
know at
do I.
this stage if Kieran Trippier has got an injury or not going into the game at the weekend. I
Gay's
think
obviously gonna miss it.
we've probably at this stage just got to write Luke Shaw out of this. I think Mark Gay's obviously suspended. So suddenly you'd probably I guess, Ezri Konsa, who did fine when he came on, will get the nod in that position. But this is also a player who he himself has played so much of the right-sided, with his right-sided centre back or right back. It's all on the right for Villa. I've never seen him play on the left of a back
No.
line for Villa. If he's going to play left to John Stones, I think that's fine. Do you then want to put the pressure of having the right winger at left back next to him? Our ball progression will be better just by, like Foden moving inside and Saka pushing up the touchline. But I think actually, probably with what happened yesterday and the opponent that we've got, I think England should go to a back three now. I think they probably should accept that this hasn't worked. We'll have more balance in our structure. It will probably effectively put an extra man in midfield for us in deeper progression moments. And he might do it.
I think he will. I
He
think he's
might
going to
he
do it
might
as
do
well.
it. But who he picks in those positions, I mean, what would you go with as the wing backs if
I
he
think
did go
Saka
to a
might
back
be
three?
a left wing back potentially in that system, and then Trent Walker between right wing back, right centre back.
Walker will play right sided centre back,
Yeah,
certainty under that. If he went for back three, it'd be Walker, Stones,
I
and
remember
Konsa.
previously you saying you're not keen on Trent as a wing back, are you? Or have I made that up?
No, I'm not. I'm not particularly because I think Trent still needs an outlet in front of him. Um, and he's used to having Mo Salah in front of him,
Yeah,
and you can't replicate Mo. But I think it's not troublesome. But I think Trent's not dynamic in the sense of he's obviously got outrageous quality if you give him time on the ball, but he's not going to fly up the touchline and beat people particularly. He's coming on on the overlap on the outside, joining in with someone if he gets into them positions. He's not going to take two people on and be like a dribbler for you. He doesn't necessarily have to be, but I think he does need that option that when he receives it, he's not just forced to come inside or go backwards. And I think
yeah.
that's what would happen a lot personally. So I don't know if I'd like Palmer as a wing back.
No,
Don't
I don't think I would.
no. As good as Cole Palmer is, I think I have to keep knocking people and say, even Chelsea fans will tell you there is massive question marks on him defensively off the ball.
Yeah.
So how comfortable is that?
Could you see him
Does
sticking
Bowen
Callum?
come back into the reckoning? I mean, it probably is Saka at right wing back. The solution feels like if you're going to go that system for balance, is probably Saka right and Gordon left. Does anyone want Gordon to play left wing back? He wasn't used yesterday. I
No.
understood that a little bit because I think the way the game had gone, you would have lost the ability of what Anthony Gordon is as a player and a dribbler, and that ability to get in behind was gone at the point England were losing the game. At extra time when we were winning, I think he might have become quite useful again.
Yeah.
So even that, I feel like system wise now it's back three, and then we have the same debates about, oh, what's my fix for the
For the
for the
midfield
for
ball
the team
progression.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Kobe Minor did pretty well. Pretty well. I saw a great comment this morning about, he's used to like standing out as a young boy playing around a load of shit because he's done it at Manchester United all season. I thought he took initiative quite a lot. Wasn't outstanding, but I thought he was fine. Declan Rice got better and better the longer it went on. Sometimes I want him to be a bit braver with his passing,
Yeah.
but how he actually played was good. He was probably England's best player. I think probably the longer it went on. Jude was not good, but at that moment, as like I tweeted after the goals, like where you been? But that's why, isn't it?
Yeah. But I still think like again, there's this culture where it's like you can't say anything. I think there's a difference between negativity and constructive criticism. I think there's a huge difference between that. And I think it's okay to say like someone hasn't been their best, but they're also capable of those moments. I don't know why there's such like polarizing views on these things
We've
personally.
got in this team two outstanding goal scorers in Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. Outstanding. And that's going to give England a chance. Because most of the other nations do not have that quality in front of goal. Even some of the top teams at this tournament don't have quite that. And they're two very difficult players to remove from the team because of such. But I think if Jude hadn't scored, we'd be sitting there now going, he really should take him off. And that
Yeah.
was my thought process. I would have put Eze on for him personally. But it's undeniable in that moment. There's few players in world football even try that in that moment. I'm
Yeah.
losing 1-0 and this is it. We score or we lose.
Yeah.
He not only has he tried it, he's perfect.
Yeah.
Connection's
Literally,
perfect.
yeah.
Everything about it.
Celebration to match. Before we move on go on. You're about to say
No, no,
something?
no, no, no.
Before we move on to Spain, Georgia, where are you at emotion wise? Because obviously, when we do the game week reviews for clubs and clubs have got a last minute winner, we're the first to say, like, don't let anyone stop you from celebrating and stuff. But it does feel like the general mood is a little bit flat, right? Even and I know, like, I've seen people say, "Oh, with respect, it's only Slovakia," but it's a last minute winner. Well, equaliser.
Yeah, no. I said I went potty when he scored. Um, that's a combination of I think relief as well. Like England, Slovakia were a good team, but there's no way England should be in that position, right? So you know what this would have been this morning if we lose that game. I mean, watching it, we did on Patreon, we reflected on Iceland
Yeah.
and the warning signals that there
Yeah,
were so many
you
similarities
popped into
going
my
in.
head last night when you said,
Yeah, and you're
yeah,
looking at them, and they've got their all blue kit with their little red trim, and you're
they
like,
started doing the
this,
clap.
yeah, this is Iceland all over again. I think Slovakia they're probably better than Iceland actually, certainly in terms of their tactical setup. Um, but it would have been pain. You're watching the end of the game, and you know as well, despite whether you want Southgate to go or stay, and I think it's worth saying we think at this stage, I saw Rob Dorsett, who's very close to the England camp, said he's absolutely convinced that even if England won this tournament, that Gareth Southgate won't be manager for England afterwards. Um, you know, to Dad, like at half time, like he will resign before you get home.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit shitty when whatever you think he's done a good. We've largely had 8 quite happy years. I know
Yeah.
people want to be defined by the trophy, etc. We largely had 8 quite happy years. But clearly now I think I've got to sit here and admit and go, yeah, England have to go in a different direction after this tournament. So there's a balance between, yes, celebrate, be happy. I absolutely did yesterday. And also now sit and reflect and go, well, if we play like that again,
We're
we're
out.
going to get beat.
Yeah.
Then there's not really. So there's a balance. But also, I also recognize that for the average person who's probably not as engaged in it as us tactically and all that, they'll have had a great day yesterday,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
might light the fire a little bit of positivity through something that was ultimately quite shit. If England had just won 2-1 yesterday, let's say Slovakia had equalised in the 95th minute and we'd scored an extra time and won, I don't think the emotion would be quite as high today
Yeah.
as it was because of what's happened. And it's the manner of the goal that Jude scored as well. I was thinking about this morning. I wonder if Southgate should actually come out and say, I'm leaving at the end of the tournament. Come out
And
and
then
say
you
it now and
think
say,
it will
look, this
get
is it.
people get behind him, like, just, yeah.
Just people want change. And it's okay for people to want change. I would like England to change now, despite the fact that I think Gareth Southgate's been great for England on the whole. I just wonder if you just come out and all the talking stops and just,
Yeah.
right,
And
okay.
then everyone will just like, okay, we know what we've got for three more
Yeah.
games, hopefully. Just get behind them.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah,
Because
I like that actually.
when I think it feels now like whenever this ends and there's a good chance that'll be Saturday, he's going to resign. And the things
Yeah.
feels pretty clear now. I just wonder, the whole idea of the criticism they've had and creating this siege mentality. Well, I'm afraid I didn't really see that yesterday.
Yeah.
And actually, I wouldn't look at them yesterday and think they weren't trying or there's no effort. I don't accuse them of that. We just want them to play a lot better.
Yeah.
And they should be able to play a lot better. I just wonder if he came out now and said that, yeah, Joe, I'm going at the end of this tournament. Now back these players. Let's try and win it. And ultimately, that's highly likely to fail, despite what any Opta analysis or bookies odds might say to you this morning. Anybody who's watching the games with their eyes can't be sitting there right now thinking England are going to win this tournament. But don't even
No.
think we'll win Saturday.
No. And I'm sure we'll touch on a lot more of that later on Patreon. Spain 4, Georgia 1. And Georgia, they had the Spaniards a little bit wobbly 18 minutes in.
Fun team, Georgia, aren't they?
Very fun team to watch,
They
yeah.
break on you really fast. They've got some good players up front. The wing backs are quite aggressive when they break and stuff. Goalkeeper's fantastic. He's not really got a prayer with any of them goals yesterday. They were a good fun team. Good fun team. That's it. I saw a statistic this morning, Clates. I know it's one of your favourites, and you're a bit of a field tilt head,
I
aren't
am.
you?
I am. Well, you gonna call me a helmet there?
No, but
Oh,
it might have nearly
right.
slipped out. I wasn't actually, but now you've mentioned it. Yeah.
Because
I
I
know
am.
you like a bit of field tilt.
I do.
So if I said to you Spain's was 93% yesterday, yeah, for the
Believe me,
benefit of
no.
those on the audio, Clayton's chin just dropped some. I understand that that's fairly,
Yeah, it's all
that's
right.
as big as it can be, basically,
Yeah.
in terms of their domination of the
So
game.
for context, Arsenal were like the best in the Premier League for that, and the average Arsenal had was like 82 to 85. So like 93 blows that out of the water. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, 35 shots in total for Spain, five big chances, massive XG. Um, they look to me at the moment the most complete team in this tournament.
Agree.
I definitely think there are some vulnerabilities defensively. You can see that, and obviously the goal they've conceded. And I think there is also a stepping back with Spain. You
In what sense?
well, like they were amazing against Italy, and then you watch Italy on Saturday, and you go, "Oh, how good were they?" Um, and then they well beat Croatia in the opening game, but they were 3-0, and Croatia actually had a lot of chances in the game. Can't judge the Albania game; largely rotated. Doesn't matter; they're already through. And then this year's very good again, but it's also the rank outsiders going into the last 16. I mean, no one really was giving Georgia a prayer. I think even when Georgia were winning, I don't think anybody was really thinking Georgia are going to go and win this. You just think there's inevitability of what Spain will do here. So I think there's still question marks, but in terms of their setup, they have a midfield three that England could only dream of.
Ah, yeah.
In the wide areas, Williams is
He's
frightening.
phenomenal, isn't he?
he's he's at Bilbao. Suppose he's on big wages. He's talking about
350K.
175 grand a week or something,
Oh,
apparently. So wherever he goes, he's going to want obviously a big salary. There is a release clause though that sounds like it's kind of payable in sort of the 50 to 60 million region, and you're just waiting for someone to trigger it, I think.
yeah.
But suppose he's not desperate to leave there. Yamal is obscene.
It,
His
yeah.
delivery of cross,
He's
unfortunately,
technically
I don't want to sit here
outstanding.
and go, oh, he's only 16, but you can't help it. It's ridiculous what he's
Yeah.
doing.
It's genuinely mental.
His delivery, he's on point nearly every single time.
Yeah.
The way he flights across, it reminds me of Mahrez, actually, the way he flights
Yeah, I can see
across
that.
in, but he's got the ability to take you in the way Mahrez did as well and stuff. Um, and I'd saying Yamal and Mahrez out, that almost feels unfair on this boy because of what he might go and be.
Yeah.
What a talent. I've just got a beautiful mix there with Rodri's the best at what he does. I think everyone's been so impressed with Fabian Ruiz.
Yeah. He's
Outstanding.
brilliant.
And Pedri floats into areas, glides across the pitch and stuff. Really good team. The two fullbacks are playing really well. I think the goalkeeper's good. There was question marks on that centre back partnership, I think. That's the big one. And always with Morata, will he take the chances or not? At some point, I'm going to learn to start captaining midfielders in this Euro fantasy game.
Yeah,
But
me
yeah,
too.
it's Mbappe tonight and Gakpo tomorrow for me,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, look, can't wait for that game. I mean, Friday, I said this last week. If it's Spain, Germany, and France, Portugal, clear your diaries.
Yeah.
You'll watch the two of them and then watch England on Saturday.
At least the
Like,
Swiss will be able to put some passes together, to be fair.
yeah. I think whoever wins that Spain Germany game will probably win this tournament. I think
Yeah, so do I. I think
that's
the
my
thing,
instinct.
yeah, it's like the blend they've got. Like you say, you speak about the midfield and the wide players. It's like that blend of the kind of old tiki taka where they can punch it in two, three passes, but then go bang direct and they're at you 1v1. And yeah, it's just a really nice balanced team.
The aggression they have in the wide areas, right? You've got two 1v1 specialists. They're different, but they're 1v1 specialists. That pins back an opponent and creates space for your midfielders to do
So
your
yeah,
thing as well, right? Um, England now, I feel, would be better off having that sort, and they can even do that within a back three structure, actually, where you can have people go high. Look, if you look at the position of Slovakia's wide players last night, that's what really we want from England, and it's similar to what Spain have got with how high they are. You don't want to get 1v1 on that. So then you've got to double up. If a Williams or your Mal gets on, you've got to double up. Guess what? When it comes back inside, you've got more space to start punching these passes because they've had to overcommit in the wide areas. So I've just got the right balance. I think for me, they're the strongest team. That's why I think they're stronger than, say, Germany. They've
Yeah.
got more variation, I
Yeah,
think. And I
agreed.
think Germany do have variation, but as mentioned earlier, that's why I think Sane probably plays again, is to give Germany a little bit more of that.
Yeah, and one thing you touched on is like they do look for all of their strengths, Spain, they do look in periods like you can get at them. Like Georgia, I know
Definitely.
I know it sounds ironic because Georgia had an XG of 0.25. They didn't have a shot on target, but when they broke with aggressive pace and directness, Spain didn't look comfortable. I know they did well. They hounded them in groups and packs, but it did feel like with better quality, better decision making on the break, you could get at them. So yeah, I agree with the Sane
Yeah,
show.
Germany could beat them. This
Yeah, yeah,
it's not in question. We might actually end up in the. I think if the favourites win the games today and tomorrow, we'll actually end up with four quarterfinals, which will feel quite nicely balanced. I think
yeah,
in terms of predicting the winner in all of them will be really tough. That to go back to the point on me maybe wild carding in the semis, it's gonna be tough to call. And I can sit here and say I think Switzerland will probably, if England continue to play as they're playing and Switzerland continue to play as they're playing, Switzerland will win, but
yeah,
it's not that straightforward. You could say, oh, Austria beat the Netherlands before. It's not to say they'll do it again. Maybe the Netherlands will have learned from that first experience. They were really bad in the first half hour of that game. Portugal could beat France.
yeah,
Germany could beat Spain. So
absolutely.
it could be a really nice balanced quarterfinal lineup where I was going to say every game gets worse in quality the longer the weekend goes on, but actually England aren't on last.
Yeah, the only
But
way
then,
is
but
up.
Switzerland aren't on last. So yeah, you'll enjoy watching Switzerland. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how difficult that game is going to be because they're a very good football team. You can tell they're very well coached. What you said about the spacing, they're going to pull us apart at periods of that game. Don't be sitting, it's Switzerland, the easiest side of the
No,
track.
I don't think
Yeah,
many people are
listen,
thinking that way.
it's also okay to sit here and go, I'm glad we're playing Switzerland rather than Spain
Yeah,
because
because
we
at least we
have
have a
no
chance.
chance.
Yeah,
Um, but it's going to be a really tough game, yeah.
yeah, lovely stuff. What's on the menu for the rest of the week?
You're with me again tomorrow to talk these two games tonight and the same on Wednesday. Suj is with me Thursday. We'll do a People's Poll podcast. We'll put topics out for vote for that. Probably tomorrow, I will confirm. We'll speak to the boss. I'll be streaming Friday, probably earlier, I think 12 o'clock UK time. If you want to get some questions fired my way ahead of the quarterfinals. Patreon content this week, which is free of charge for all our existing paying patrons. We're going to talk more England today and perhaps a little bit more of what's next. And I think a lot of the emotion behind yesterday, I've got something very funny to tell you that I'll save for there because I'd rather not say
Okay.
it publicly. It doesn't involve any women or anything, by the way,
No,
if
no,
anyone's
cheers
wondering.
for getting that out there.
Tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow on Patreon? I can't remember what we're doing tomorrow.
Q&A, doing the Q&A,
Q&A
which is
tomorrow.
usually on a Monday.
Wednesday, we're going to bring back the transfer window show. We're going to look at some of the done deals, not so much from a PSR perspective, just look at the deals that are done so far. Thursday, Suj is joining me and we're going to talk about his road trip to Portugal because he's anticipating to get to Portugal on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we'll do our differential show, our preview of the four quarterfinals.
Lovely stuff.
It's also talking tactics this week, two of them. One an England Switzerland preview, and on Friday I'm going to have a closer look at Arne Slot and what we can expect from him at Liverpool.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
That's it. Cheers, Collect.
Cheers, mate.
How do we end this? Oh yeah, be nice to each other, everyone. And if you're English, yes, celebrate. Cue music, please, man child.